Oh,
That's the look for camera.
okay. So, uh, hi, and
Hi.
have you seen many of these typing sessions before?
I've seen a couple of typing session with other profilers. But if you're asking specifically for your sessions, I would say I only listened to a few of them, but I didn't pay it full attention. So sometimes I just maybe catch something, but it was more likely on the background.
Okay, cool. What, assuming it's not first thing in the morning right now, wherever you are, uh, can you describe to me as a series of inconsequential events, a sequence of details about the last few hours? For example, I got up, I went pee, I smoked a cigarette, I got a cup of coffee, I came back here, I watched a cartoon, then I got up to go mess with some stuff inside, like that.
Yeah, yeah. So in a couple of hours, um, I was with my husband for some furniture to look because we are building a new house, so we are trying to look out for material, which really is not a very interesting thing to do, but yeah, that what was we are doing for a couple of hours. And before we were, I was with my kids today at my job to visit
Your job,
and
your job to what?
to visit my colleagues with my kids.
Your job is to visit your colleagues with your kids?
No, no, I was at my job or at place where I work, right?
Uh huh.
I was visiting my colleagues there.
Oh, and you had your kids with you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see.
I had
So,
my kids
okay,
with
gotcha.
me.
So you didn't go to work, you were visiting your workplace. I gotcha. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, right. I'm sorry for that. I haven't spoken English for quite a long time, so maybe it will be quite interesting. But I hope you will understand everything I say.
all right, cool. So when you were visiting, did you visit because you just wanted to chat with people, or was there a more specific, concrete reason as to why?
Well, it was because I haven't seen them for a really, really long time. I was avoiding that because I really am not very much people person, so I just avoided that more than a year. But I decided, that today I really was in the right mood. I was like prepared for for it. I just prepared myself for it, like mentally.
Uh huh.
So I decided to just have a check it, and now I don't have to see them again for another year. I
So,
hope.
okay, why do you feel you have to see them at all? And that's the first question. And second question is, did you find it rewarding emotionally to see them?
I don't find it rewarded to see them. I find it rewarded that I just don't do this for another time, like soon. So it's more sort of like relief that I have it finally done.
Okay,
If
and why do
anything,
you feel you need to do it at all?
I don't know, probably because uh, probably it's expected from me, and because I would like to return to that job, and I think
You
it.
want to return to it.
I want to return to that place. I'm not sure, I'm in fact I'm not sure if I find something more interesting, but now the situation with COVID and all, I think it's like good to have stable job right now.
Are your kids
And
little?
yeah, they're little twins.
Little, okay.
So with little twins, I'm really glad that I have this stable job.
Okay.
And yeah, that's it. What was that question again?
It was about why you went there basically. I was trying to figure out why you felt like you had to go there once a year at all. And now I understand for practical reasons you're trying to sustain a good relationship so you don't burn that bridge in case you want to go back there later.
Yeah, yeah, like
Okay.
that.
All right, cool. And how can you recount actual details from some of the schmoozy conversations you had? Like, can you actually quote a brief section of a conversation where you said, Joe, hey, it's so good to see you. And Joe said, Monica, is that you? Oh my gosh, it's been a year. It's great to see you too. So, what you been up to? Can you recount a piece of conversation like that you actually had?
Well, today it was really a lot. There were a lot of common phrases occurring, like those very common, small talk phrases, like "Oh my God, your kids are beautiful and you look good and they are so nice and are they twins?" I don't know.
Are they
They're
twins?
probably
Are they identical?
yeah, they are. They are identical.
Identical
So,
twins. Wow.
yeah, yeah, it was less than 1% chance, and it's it's really cool because those kids, they are like, it seems to be like very rare for me because I have
Yeah.
reading a lot of these studies and a lot of these researches about percentage and about chances, what chances are where when you are female and what factors are came to play, and I just really didn't have almost any of those characteristics needed to have those twins. And it's really funny because I'm not practical person. I'm very clumsy, manually, and it's a big problem for me to do things like simultaneously in physical reality. So I really take it as some kind of dark humor from nature or from God or from
I mean,
whatever.
it's got to be
that
trippy. It's got to be
that
trippy
I
to
have
go to the
twins.
doctor,
That
and have expecting to learn whether it's a boy or a girl or something, and be told, actually, you have twins. Not only that, but you've got identical twins. Or did you not find out till they're born whether they're identical?
Well, I knew that from I guess very beginning from 10 weeks
So they can tell
that
that from
that
early
they are
tests.
identical. Yeah, yeah. They thought it was probable, but it was very risky pregnancy, so I had a lot of checkups,
Now,
check up.
the kids, of course, are going to be in high demand by psychology researchers everywhere who are trying to distinguish things that are genetically linked and things that are linked by some other normally the alternative being nurture links, like environmental links, but everybody wants to study identical twins because they reveal such clear information about the distinction there.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward for these twins experiments, and it's really very interesting to observe how similar they are or how different they are from each other, and it's really very interesting to observe it.
Okay,
But
do you think they have different personality types?
yeah, I do. At least they are very differently, like in behavior right now, and of course it can change, but I think that in terms of character they are very like different from not character, like temperament. Yeah, temperament should be inborn, so I think that there are differences.
Now,
And of course it can be like um because they didn't have the same conditions in my belly, so I think it's also influenced because of that, because of these factors
I mean,
that they
how variable is the weather within your uterus? I mean, it's like it's not that big of a land mass. Probably you would suspect that it's basically the same in all areas of it, wouldn't you?
it I think it should be, but you know the one twin had more like medical problems than the other one, and the umbilical cord, it was just connected differently, and only one had those issues. So I really think that even this even these small problems and this how to say that in English, uh just those,
Distinctions, differences.
yeah,
Yeah.
those factors just came into play. So when they were born, they was not totally identical because different different, and I'm
Right. Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Because different conditions within the womb produce slightly different
Yeah,
outcomes outside the womb. And one indication that
exactly.
that is in fact the case that conditions in the womb impact a person is I have this little indentation right here in my ribs where I lay on my arm when I was in the womb, and I've always had it, and it's still there. So
Hmm.
it's like what happens in the womb does impact you somewhat. Um, okay. Interesting. Pretend I'm your kids. I,
Did you get the receipt?
It's they said they're gonna email it. Yeah, it should be in my email. I
To
haven't.
you?
Yeah, I haven't checked my email yet, but I'm sure it's
Okay.
there. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Can you pretend I'm your kid and tell me a story involving a turtle and a crab that teaches them a lesson you'd like them to learn?
Okay. So hi. No, hi. I won't say them hi. Definitely. I would say, okay, there was a crab and a turtle, you said, and a turtle was very, very sad that she is, such a slow creature. And crab was also very sad because people are afraid of him. And yeah, definitely that the turtle is sad because it's not the because people are laughing to it. That okay, I can see that there is a lot of people involving in this story, like people reactions to those animals.
Oh, yes,
Um,
you can add as many characters as you'd like.
yeah, so I think that it would be about that. Um, something that Crab is sad because people are afraid of him, and that they think that he's actually scary, and it would be a story about, I think, accept, acceptance, or that like you have to know what to look for, and that everyone is somehow um like valuable.
Okay. So then I want you to complete this poem. Crab is sad, and turtle knows it. Turtle's mad because crab now shows it. Now you do the next stanza poem.
Wow, you really want this from me in English?
Do it in your native language.
This is actually funny because I used to write a lot, and I used to write a lot of poems and novels, so this should be a piece of cake for me. But crab is mad that turtle is sad, you know?
Crab crab is sad, and turtle knows it. Crab is mad because turtle shows it.
Don't be afraid because because I understand. So give me your hand and let me know your heart and your desires, and maybe we will the
Okay.
problem closed.
Okay.
Maybe we can close the
You were
problem.
right there. I thought the last line was going to be combine us, make a Cribbertle man. But that's fine. Okay, so interesting. So you used to write a lot. You don't write so much anymore. It's because you're too busy with raising your kids and work and stuff like that.
I think that it's because my self-esteem suffered a lot because I'm basically forced into this a new role, and it's very hard for me to deal with this stuff, like this practical stuff, and I just think that my intellectual side is slowly fading away. And yeah, so I would say it's more likely a question of current self-esteem.
Okay. When it comes to consuming media, do you have some kinds of media, either certain songs, certain movies, or whatever, certain books that you return to and re-experience over and over again?
Re-experience. I wouldn't say necessarily. I I like to listen to I like to listen to music which like reflects my feelings, how I feel. So if it's something what is consistent with my feeling, I just go for that song. And it can be old song, it can be like something I just heard somewhere, or so maybe in this way, yeah, because I need to vent my feelings through.
Okay. And is that
If
a
it
does it
makes sense.
how long how often do you encounter something where you don't know how you feel about it? And then if that's the case, how long do you think it's going to take you generally to figure out how you feel about it?
Well, for me, it's very clear how I feel about things.
Okay. Um,
I just have feelings immediately, but I don't necessarily show them, or at least I'm trying not to show it.
what about
Not always.
a complicated feelings calculus? Something like your friend is doing something annoying and you want to inform them of it, but don't want to hurt their feelings. Do you have those kind of calculi often? Can you think of an example of thinking things like that before?
Well, I not sure if I understand completely, but I try to be honest, but I think I improved my people scale a lot, so I just don't give them a brute honesty. I just try to say that. Um, I just want to say the truth, but in not a harmful way. But of course, when I'm in a state of real conflict, then I just can't always just keep it nice, you know.
Well, what an example to clarify is one time I was in a room talking with some various people, and one of the people in there, he kept saying like. He said the word like way too many times. Like. And it annoyed me. But I liked the guy, and I didn't want to come down hard on him, but I also didn't want him to keep doing that. So it's like
Yeah.
I feel at that moment I realized, aha, this is a feelings based calculation.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. So I think I can do that, but it's more like I'm just thinking a lot about that and about how to say that, how to put that, and maybe I try to give them some more like um, uh, insight, or
God, why do you keep saying like? It sounds so stupid. Do you say it like that?
I wouldn't do that. Probably not. If I won't be drunken, then not.
Okay. Uh, so
I would try to ask them, like, you know, why it's important for them to say that. I assume I would try to understand it at first, like why they are doing it, and then rationalize it with myself that, yeah, okay, it's annoying, but they have a good reason for doing so.
they don't though. It's just a bad habit, and nobody's checked him on it enough to make him stop. Um, regardless of that, what do you think is more true generally of the world? That people are guilty of too much black and white thinking, or that people are guilty of too much mushy thinking?
Mm, well, I think that neither thing is sort of to be guilty about. And I can see like both way how those characteristic can be wrong. But if I would say, if, as I myself see it personally, then I just don't like these black and white thinking, because I think that always there is always like those shadows of grace area, and that people should be. able to see it more frequently, and not to dogmatically um, follow something. Or I mean, it's not a problem if they believe in themselves, but I think it's bad if they try to force it upon anyone.
Who's a public figure that makes you angry?
Public.
Yeah, public figure. Like you go, I don't like that person and what he says, or I don't like that lady and how she acts, and it's because she's so arrogant, or because she's saying the wrong things, or it's because she whatever.
Well, that's probably one. I assume you don't know this lady. She is in like she's a reporter in my country, and she seems very much like fake, and as you said, like arrogant, and she basically treats people like they are less than her, and she can be, I don't know, she is very just like prima donna,
Right.
very much affected and very much just fake. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So now I'm going to ask you about your thoughts about cognitive functions in the abstract, because I'd like to get a sense of sort of what frame of reference you're approaching the whole typology thing with. So, what is your idea of what comprises introverted thinking?
Of what? I'm sorry.
So, what do you think introverted thinking is?
Well, I think it's trying to make some categories, and trying to fit everything, to classify everything, and to have it like in those internal internal um, framework inside of
Okay.
you.
And what do you think introverted feeling is?
Probably being very much like in touch with yourself, and not being so easily swayed by other people, and just pursue your own agenda, I would say.
Okay.
And yeah.
And how do you think introverted feeling differs from introverted sensing?
mm, I think that introverted feeling is more like really about being authentic, or being like in touch with feeling. And I think that introverted sensing is not necessarily about feeling only. I think it's more about sensations as well.
Okay. What are some of the physical sensations of an emotion? Can you name an emotion that has physical sensation and what the physical sensation is?
Well, I think that, for example, if you're listening music, then of course you have some sort of strong feeling, and you can have your goose bump
Your
on your.
hair stand up. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I
And
was reading that it's actually happening only to 50% of people, which is interesting.
it definitely happens to me.
Yeah.
So
So you have probably a different brain, as I read, that you have something differently wired in your brain. So it's really kind of interesting.
what do you think extroverted intuition is?
Extroverted intuition, probably bouncing a lot of different ideas and jumping to one of another and trying to invent something. Um, Something like mentally. And I think that this is a difference between extroverted intuition and extroverted sensation, because I've read so many sources claiming that like extroverted intuition types should be able to do like more stuff at the same time. But I think that it's not necessarily the case, probably because I think that extroverted intuition is more likely dealing with mental land. So it's not necessarily um, the thing that they can really handle a lot of different things in physical reality.
I agree with you completely.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, so let me ask you some TI questions now, and we'll see some of those black and white thinking kind of questions. We'll
It's
see.
spoiler, it's a spoiler. Okay.
All right. Can you tell me if the pineapples freeze, then they will die, and if the pineapples die, we won't be able to sell our crop. And if we won't be able to sell our crop, then we'll have to move. Fortunately, it turns out we don't have to move. What can we conclude?
Okay. Well, I would say that it's not like I think it's the difference who is like asking this question, if this is really some kind of example and we really have only these things defined in here, because obviously there could be another sources of survival, like it's
Well, that's why we
like
use the word if. If it is the case that if the pineapples die, will not, we will not be able to
Well,
harvest our
well,
crop.
I would argue that pineapples, you said, is not the only like case from of those things necessarily to survive. So I would assume that maybe they could do another things, or maybe that they could see other ways
Okay.
how to.
Who is my mother's father's wife in relation to me?
Oh God, this was not good kind of question even in my native language. So
Who's my mother's sister in relation to me?
mother, sister, it just, hey, I'm sorry, I'm just not good at this terminology.
No,
I
this
don't
is
know,
fine.
mother-in-law or
No, it's fine. Look, what you're showing here is you're validating my approach to typing because so far this is consistent with what I expected. And now let me ask you a TE question instead. Can you break smoking a cigarette down into exactly 6 steps?
break it
Break
to
it,
exactly.
yeah, break it down into like you're gonna give tell somebody who's never smoked a cigarette before. You're gonna give them a 6 step recipe for how to smoke a cigarette.
No,
Will you try anyway?
I would try to like
All right, how about brushing your teeth? Break brushing your teeth into exactly 6 steps.
I think I could do some like very pseudo like very useless, but you can't just do this because I think that everyone just do that differently.
Okay,
So
right, but the thing is, here you've got a situation where you need to leave a note for a person
yeah,
who's coming, and they need to have some sort of instructions about how to brush their teeth. They just got the thaw. They're Neanderthal. They're like
okay,
Encino Man.
I think I would be able to do that, but it would be more likely an assumption, I
Okay,
guess.
okay. Well, listen. How about this? You need to break the task of how you brush your own teeth descriptively into 6 steps.
And you want me to say that concretely?
Yeah, I want you to go
Or
step one, meow meow meow. Step two, meow meow meow.
yeah, okay, step one, just bring your teeth in the bathroom. Step in the bathroom. And step two, just prepare, um, and just prepare those things and whatever order, just those brush and pasta. Uh, Step 3, put it together as much as you like. Step 4, just start brushing. Step 5, just hold on. Maybe it's really annoying to do that. Step 6, you're done. Great, good job. Now you're done for this day.
Okay. If something breaks around your house, like a lamp or a doorknob or something, do you tell your husband? Do you fix it yourself, or do you have?
No, I definitely don't fix it myself. As I told you earlier, I'm very clumsy, so I don't even try to do this.
Okay.
I just call someone for help.
Okay. Um. So, how explain your relationship with committing to things? Let's say Judy calls you and says, "Monica, oh my gosh, I am going to be in your neighborhood. Will you come meet me at this place on Tuesday afternoon? We're going to have coffee and crumpets." Are you gonna you're gonna be like, "Oh, Tuesday? That's like a week from now." You're asking me to commit about a day, a long day time from now. I don't know if I'm ready to commit to that. Or are you just gonna be like, "Yeah, sure, I'll see you then."
Well, I don't like to commit completely for something, so I try to leave it like open. I try to, I would say probably, well, just I will let you know later. You know, I just try to postpone even my own reaction to that, and I'm also capable to avoid that meeting like completely. Like to write, just to call it off one day before the action. So yeah,
Okay.
I think
Um,
I'm not very good at commitment.
okay, can you describe the steps you took to prepare to have this video conference? In other words, did you move your computer and camera to a specific spot to make a nice background? Did you put on specific clothes? Or did you just plop down where it always is and just push go?
Well, I wanted to do it sitting before a table, but it was really bad light, and my husband was laughing that it looks like my head is burning because there was this huge light in up just above my head. So I had to move somewhere else, and um, I think this is good spot because you know that violet color is really good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Were you wearing the hat already, or did you put it on specifically for this?
I had it I had it today at my job
Okay.
because you know I didn't wash my hair,
Okay.
so I think it's a good cover and it also doesn't look very bad, I would say.
So underneath
And
the hat is just like 2 inches of caked dirt, right?
yeah, you know, I just with kids, I just don't have a lot of time for another things, and I also do my favorite stuff, and you know, taking care of some more practical stuff, it's just not my top priority. So if I had a moment for myself, I probably read something or play something and not like doing my makeup or doing my nails or anything.
Okay. If you
So
had, if you had like a situation where, basically, for one day, you had old school parents like mine who would say, "Okay, go out and play outside all day,
mhm,
and then come back in for lunch in 4 hours." And so you had to go do something outside your house. You could maybe like garden, or you could take a walk. You could go for a bike ride, or some sort of thing
yeah.
that is in the physical world, and you were compelled to do it. What would you choose to spend your time doing?
um what I would do with my free time or what place I would visit.
If compelled to do outside activities that aren't metaphysical.
yeah, that are not metaphysical, right?
Right. That are not abstract, that are not idea related.
Uh, I would probably go somewhere listening music. I think I would listening music, and I would go to some shop with books, different than library. I work in library, so if you asked me this question like a couple years ago, I would tell you definitely I would go in library because it was my favorite place. But it's not anymore,
Okay, so
So
your examples of non metaphysical things to do are both media related. They're listening to music and going to a bookstore.
yeah,
Those are not physical world things to do. What I'm talking about is like digging in the garden, planting some new plants, maybe changing the water in the aquarium, stuff like that.
I wouldn't do that. you know, I,
Okay, but
I
you've
just
got
wouldn't
mean
want to do
parents and
that.
they're forcing you to do some sort of outside play. You can't play inside today. You keep trying to go outside and go back inside to play again.
I would go for a ride with a pony.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Go for a ride on a pony. That's a pretty good activity, I guess. Although I don't know why you wouldn't choose a full-grown horse. What is it about women wanting underage horses anyway?
I just say I want it for my kids, of course.
Okay.
I think now it's a better camouflage of my real values.
Okay, cool. So, what I'm hearing from you so far is plenty of extroverted intuition and two functions that one might conclude are polar. So I've got you between two specific
Plenty, it
types.
means a lot or it means a little.
It means polar is
No, 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 no. I mean plenty. Plenty is a lot of something or
any. I
plenty.
said any. I said any. I didn't say
Oh
plenty.
yeah,
I said
I saw
I
I
said
saw
extroverted
plenty.
intuition. Okay, so
Okay.
what I'm seeing so far is plenty of extroverted intuition,
Yeah, that.
and I'm seeing introverted feeling. So that puts you in the NFP category. The question then
Yeah,
becomes
I know, but
which
I'm
NFP?
sorry. Yeah,
Go ahead.
this is my problem with introverting feeling because I think that I'm like too much interested in other people's reactions for me. And this is believe it to be more like FE things, and I think I'm trying to accommodate other people, which
Well,
is also not very much like FI.
let me explain what the fifth slot function's relationship
Okay.
is. Okay, so yeah, come in. I'm with the.
Okay. Yeah, we were talking
Can you go? Can you
yesterday.
go talk to him outside so I can do this?
Hi.
Okay, so introverted feeling as a dominant function. If you were introverted feeling dominant, the fifth slot function FE would be your absolute value for the external world, which means two things. One, you assume, generally speaking, that your own extroverted feeling is at least not epically failing you. But more importantly, number two, you judge the external world on extroverted feeling. Now, if you are ENFP, then extroverted feeling is demonstrative, which means it's what you expect the world to expect of you, and you are trying to give it a lot. Okay, so but you also find it laborious, and that's something you enjoy doing. So your description of your experience at work, you're going there once a year for extroverted feeling reasons, all of that is in fact consistent with sixth slot extroverted feeling. So that would be, it's like you could explain your relationship with extroverted feeling in two ways. One, it's an absolute value they assume you're really good at, but you judge harshly when other people fail at, if they fail
Hmm.
dramatically enough. Or two, that you don't think you're particularly good at it, but you recognize it as what the world demands of you and that you
Yeah.
expect yourself to provide.
Yeah, it's definitely the second option. I think I made a lot of improvement in my social skills because as a child, I was very socially awkward, but I learned a lot how to. But I know all the time that it's not the real me. That I'm only presenting some kind of persona because it's what is expected, and I was told the whole life, that I'm just like somehow different, and I was not accepted in peer groups. uh, I was at first accepted during my college at philosophy, and until then I was just a weirdo. So I think I learned how, and I teach no I learned how to be someone who is more like capable socially, but it took me time. But now I think that other people just are not, they just don't know it's my mask. They maybe think it's like very natural of me, but I know all the time that it's not, that it's everything like learned, and I really don't like me behaving like this, but I just don't want to be this rejected rejected person again.
Right.
So
And it's interesting. There's so many interesting contrasts to be drawn here because with my relationship with extroverted thinking is equivalent to your relationship with extroverted feeling. Except I don't see it as linking to being untrue to myself. In fact, somewhat to the contrary, I see extroverted thinking as the key to being true to myself, but the key that I hate. You know, so it's like in its best manifestation, the fact that I'm on task here the whole time and doing my job, which is very much a TE kind of process, figuring out what type you are, how to eliminate certain options and not, and using questions that are a variety of straight up sort of TI binary questions, but a large number of ones that involve some interpretation or open ended questions and stuff. That requires a fair amount of TE of me, and it's what I expect the world to expect of me, and I feel happy when I'm providing it. By and large, I have a less conflicted relationship with my six slot
mhm.
function in that regard.
Yeah, that's really interesting how you're describing it, because it's really like how I would describe my relation, or my like social skills, that I really like thinking a lot consciously, and thinking this like a strategy of what to do, and really like going as some steps, pr- pushing me towards like perfect camouflage in those social sphere. So.
Interesting. I don't. I guess bottom line is I don't see FE as camouflage for myself. I see it as as a higher version of self because I'm less fixated on my deliberation function. But TI being my deliberation function is black and white, and the TI questions that I asked, your answers were consistent with TI seventh, which is consistent with ENFP. Interestingly, ENFP is the one that has an absolute value for TI, and ENTP actually finds an instrumental value. So we don't really actually care that much if things are logically consistent when it comes down to it at the end of the day. Just like I think ENFPs don't really care that much about what's most important to them if a lot of other factors, it's like when you had twins, all of a sudden you had to give up a lot of stuff that had previously been important to you, and it probably wasn't difficult for you to shift FI, like to go, well, that's the old thing I loved. These are the new things I love.
Well, yeah, I'm trying not to, I'm still trying to be connected to my old self. So in my free time, I really try to be that me who is reading a lot about things which I'm interested in, and who is still playing computer games, and just who I just don't want to be consumed like completely by that new role. So I would say that when I really have time, then I do everything what I can to be me, and I just postpone all my duties for tomorrow because right now it's just my time for me, time for reconnecting with me. So
And imagine the same thing, except without any purpose frame like that. So it's like I just whatever I got to do, just put off to tomorrow. Because why? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that like you do exactly. But you're an ENFP, and it's a great pleasure to get to type an ENFP because I don't get a chance to type a whole lot of you guys. Can I ask you what you thought you were coming in?
I'm sorry, did you say ENFP or INFP?
E. You're an ENFP.
E, like extroverted.
Yeah. But remember, you're an extrovert because you have extroverted intuition as the dominant function.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing as
Well,
colloquially extroverted in the sense that
it's really
socially a social
interesting.
butterfly or something. That's not the same thing.
You are the first person who is assuming this type for me. So it was interesting to know. I was typed officially by some people, and most often as INFP or INTJ. But it was based, on like micro expressions and tone.
Voltology, toss it out the window.
Yeah, that was it. And yeah, like ISFP, again by voltology, and then as INFJ based on what I wrote about myself. But a lot of people told me INFP, yeah.
I mean,
So
INFP is the best mistyping of you. If you just focus on your affect and your self reporting answers, you'd conclude INFP probably because you self report a lot of SE problems, which might associate with SE polar.
hmm,
However, the tests, the actual skills tests that say, okay, well, we have a very strong correlation between extroverted intuition and the ability to yeah. Well, in this case, it would be ideate or talk a lot ideationally in a way that you do, which is distinct from a way that an SE dom would. So it makes
yeah,
you an NE
maybe
dom.
if you think that I'm only trying to be like original in my answers, so I'm trying to come up with those like interesting things
Why are you trying to do that?
because I think it's the most valuable thing on me, which I really liked when I was without kids. And
It's
I
because
think
it's your absolute value. Your absolute value is extroverted intuition, and it plays out as a value as a desire for novelty, creativity, deviation from what's expected, and you already know. And so that's why you try to give those sort of answers. It's
yeah,
implicit to
or
being an
maybe
NE.
I just don't want to, or maybe I just want to be like this because it's just super cool to me. It's
And there's
it's
another possibility that deviates from what I just said. You're right.
yeah. So maybe I can just come up with really a lot of arguments why this could be like this, and really see a lot of factors which come into a play, and really think a lot of different scenarios why something is like this, and what does it mean, and what if it's like this, and what if it's not like this. So it's just never ending story for me. And I think that's also a reason why I still doubt my type.
Okay, well, I'm
Because,
very certain of your type, and I can tell you also this: that if you let me publish it, you'll see that everybody else in the comments and stuff there will be broad agreement that you're an ENFP. Because the thing is, unlike Voltology, the questions that I ask across the board for every person I've done for hundreds of people, and there's lots of typing sessions that are published, you can you can note for yourself how different people answer them in markedly different ways, and how sets of answers correlate with FI types, sets correlate with TI types. Some of them you can reduce to skills. So this is a very polished and refined approach to typing over the course of many typing sessions published, in which all of them that have been published, not all of them have been published, but those that have get scrutiny from people, and so it gets more and more refined by being sort of scrutinized by the community in general. Something like
yeah,
Baltology, in contrast, they have no explanations as to why you are this type, except to say micro expressions. There's no justification as to why that micro expression necessarily links to that function, or why their interpretation of your display of micro expressions ought to be prioritized over someone else's interpretation, which is why three different voltologists type use three different things.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly like logically consistent for those people. So they assume it's right. And I think it's interesting idea, but I wouldn't trust it completely because, I really think that those typings like INTJ and ISFP both are like completely off.
And here's where you and I will definitely always butt heads. I want to make clear that something is never logically consistent for someone. It's logically consistent for everyone, or it's not logically consistent.
But it can make sense to you. It can make perfect sense to you as an
That's
individual.
true. People can be incredibly convinced of their own wrongness.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm like the opposite of this, because I just can see so many. I would repeat myself. I just can see a lot of different, um, and new things which are coming into play. So you have to reconsider all of this. So it's like I'm never go to this final conclusion because on the every corner there is like new information which you need to put
Please,
into account.
please let me publish this. Don't tell me right now. Obviously, watch it. Take your time. I'm trying to, but I'm just saying, if you do, you're gonna get to see number one comments, and you'll also get to engage with people in the chat because I'll put it up as a premiere so that people can live chat and stuff. And you are such a great, perfect example of an ENFP expressing ENFP values across the board and just demonstrating ENFP hood in such a nice package that I would love it if you choose to let me post this. If you don't, that's okay too. I don't mean to put hard
Okay.
sell on you.
I really screwed up the question with the logic, and I think it sounds really dumb. So for a record, I would like to say that I'm a member of Mensa. So it doesn't mean I'm stupid. It just means that I'm
TI polar, right? TI polar does not mean stupid. Okay, just because somebody is not attentionally suited towards the most low resolution data, which is to say things reduced to their binary distinctions, doesn't mean they're not intelligent. Okay?
You see, and I'm again so much afraid of people reactions out of me, and I thought that I will grow up from this, but no, it's not.
But that's an FI thing, Monica. That's not an FE thing, okay? If that's you're saying I believe myself and know myself to be an intelligent person, and I want my identity to be respected by everybody. That's an FI thing. That's not really an FE thing. So,
Okay.
um,
Okay, I think that maybe I will let you publish it. I
okay.
Let's see.
All right, I will share it with you privately first and give you a chance and if you want to think about it some, okay?
Okay, thank you very much for this interview. It's really, I will think a lot about that. What you said.
All right,
I like
cool.
this.
All
I
right,
like
thanks
this
a lot.
result.
All right, I'll end the recording now.